Hingi na rin po ng reaction dito po sa sinabi ni Sasot. Sabi po niya, it's an honor to be cited in contempt by a very corrupt House of Representatives led by a very corrupt Speaker.
Una sa lahat, may honor pa ba siya? I mean, these are people who portray themselves as heroes, but do not have the honor to face a legitimate investigation and to face the public and explain themselves under oath kung bakit may mga sinasabi silang hindi tama at hindi hindi totoo. So I think being honorable is to not only being brave online, but brave enough to face the charges and under oath express your sentiments. And by the way, I thank those vloggers who have participated in our committee hearings. I take these people as you know, courageous enough to take to explain themselves and take the chance and to take the opportunity granted to them kasi binibigyan naman sila ng invitation and due process para i-explain sa deliberasyon sa committee kung ano yung pwede nilang maibigay at input na may dagdag sa pag-formulate at pag-draft natin ng isang batas. So I thank them for continuously engaging the committee and for explaining their side. Kasi yun naman talaga dati sa atin dito na dapat ay kung mayroon sila kasi yung parte doon sa sektor na yon. At sila yung very much active doon sa platform na yon. So their inputs would be very much valued and very much appreciated. So I thank them for coming over and continuously engaging in the committee deliberation.
Thank you, Billy. Next question will be Billionario Sandro.
Hi, good morning, Kong. Kong, may recently nga ang daming pinag-usapan sa internet yung tungkol dun sa bastos na sa kampanya, and then recently itong yung openly pagbawi ng endorsement ng LGBT community kay Heidi Mendoza. Tingin niyo po ba anong aral yung makukuha natin from all these events?
Yung lesson na very simple lang yung message na be more sensitive, circumspect, and be decent in public discourse. Hindi lang sa mga kandidato, but in all public spaces where discussions are being are being exercised and valued and celebrated in spaces where opinions are matter. I think the baseline should be remarks, statements, opinions are to be in line with our purpose of progressing the community. I think that's the basic messaging that we need to maintain and uphold.
Sa tingin nyo saan kaya nagagamit? Kasi nanggagaling ito. Kasi parang yun nga, ang dami pong incidents nung hindi lang pala isa. Even Gabriela found out.
Sila.
Yes, ang dami.
Saan
po kaya nanggagaling ito?
Hindi ko talaga alam dahil, ako personally, kung tatanungin mo, hindi ko alam kung bakit ganun yung konteksto ng mga sinasabi ng mga kandidato. Dahil baka naman may peculiarities kasi ng bawat komunidad, no? Pero it also has something to do with yung toleration, yung level of toleration na sa ating kultura, na I think that has to be changed. Na yung bakit kailangan mong pwede ka naman mangampanya at mag-joke without hurting a certain sector. If you attack an individual, make sure that yung campaigning mo, yung negative campaigning mo, ay hindi hindi lang makakasakit sa isang tao or demeaning yung pagka-humanity ng isang kandidato na kalaban mo, But hindi dapat makasakit sa isang sector kung saan nabibilang ang isang individual. So, partly also because this move by the Commission, by adopting this resolution, is really to change that type of mindset and culture where lewd jokes are acceptable and tolerated. So, kailangan natin talaga mag-change ito kasi itong nangyayari, it's a lesson actually, it's a lesson. I look at the good side. The good side is a lesson na kailangan nating malaman. And unfortunately, it's something that we learned in a hard way kasi may mga 5 na kandidato na isyuhan ng show cause order at sana hindi po madagdagan ang kanilang bilang.
May connect po kaya to kasi parang we had a former president na nagmumura doon sa... Doon kaya galing yon, sir?
Kailangan talaga natin ma-change yung ganong mindset eh. I think tayo lang din mga sa publiko ang magsasabi sa mga kandidato natin. We deserve better platforms of governance. We as electorate, as citizen of this country, should demand to our candidates and leaders that kung ano man yung dapat namin malaman at marinig sa inyo, ay yung kung ano yung makakabuti sa amin. So, ganun din yon. It's so, tama nga yung sinabi mo, dahil we tolerate this kind of lewd jokes and no less than the former president, nagjo-joke sila ng ganito. So, yun ang parati natin and consistent ang messaging natin dito sa House of Representatives that this kind of remarks should not be normalized and it should not be trivialized. Kasi hindi maganda sa pandinig ng publiko at nakakasakit sa mga individual na nabibilang sa mga ilang sektor at grupong based sa kanilang gender at based sa kanilang paniniwala.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandro. We now call on Elson.
Hello, Kong. How are you? Hingi lang po ng comment nyo sa isang development po sa ICC. Yun daw pong prosecutor ng ICC is looking into the, I guess, evidence against the co-perpetrators daw po ni dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte. And if needed, the judge will also issue a warrant against them. Although, sir, wala pong sinabing pangalan, kasi confidential daw po, but of course, ang iniisip po natin ay si Senator Bato. Your reaction?
Again, this is entirely within, I guess, the administration has been very consistent in saying that we no longer deal with the ICC. But as to the jurisdiction where the ICC gains its yung kanyang kaso against the former president, the timeline kung saan nangyari itong mga allegations of yung crime against humanity happened when the time the Philippines was a party and a member of the Rome Statute. Again, ang sa aking palagay from the legislative side of the government, it is purely within how the executive would respond to these ongoing cases. So, let's see how this will unfold.
Thank you po.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Should only be considered if they have a government-issued ID, passport, SSS, or national ID. Sa tingin, in your point of view, is this a fair ask given that the victims, most of the victims came from poor communities?
What is more concrete as an evidence than the death of a loved one? That would be more than enough for those families of the victims who are now crying for justice, to say that, one, they're Filipino citizens, they have legitimate grievances, and they have valid case that they would file before the ICC. So I think in defense naman nila, that's how they will approach the case. They will do anything and everything they can. And they can explore any legal possibilities just to frustrate, for example, the case filed by the prosecution. So that's entirely a legal maneuvering and legal strategy for the defense. But again, if you ask me, that's like asking too much of a. Why would a national ID why would a national ID or a SSS be material in filing the case? No, just to prove, I don't know what kind of what kind of evidence that they would like to, what kind of additional, for example, documentation they want to ask for the victims to provide. Hindi ko alam kung how that would be relevant in the case in the pursuit of justice.
Sorry, I have two more questions on different topics. Sir, yun kay Attorney Harry Roque, sa tingin nyo ba it's the other way around na baka makasama pa dun sa asylum bid niya yung allegation na magaling siyang magpabagsak ng gobyerno for that matter?
If proven true talagang siya mismo, that revelation in itself would be legally, kumbaga, kung tatanungin mo ko, it would really condemn, for example, legally, and the case of the petition or the asylum that he is applying for in the Netherlands. Kasi party siya doon sa pag-destabilize ng isang gobyerno. So I'm sure in the Netherlands, they are also aware of, you know, they know how to, you know, they know how a legal proceeding would differ from that of a legitimate case, differ from that of a political prosecution.
Sir, on Facebook naman, and you know,
yung sabi ko, yung alam po nila yung valid legal na mga charges from political prosecution.
Sir, yung sa Facebook, although the Facebook officials, Meta officials said that yung fact-checking, at least, yung fact-checking unit for this side of the world, Southeast Asia, it's still there. They still have third-party fact-checkers. Although in the US, it's already been stopped. Wala na silang fact-checking. Wala na silang third-party fact-checkers sa US. So, do you think moving forward, they should maintain that third-party fact-checker partners just to ensure that what is posted in their platform, you know, is not harmful, to say the least, are not harmful to say the least.
Any possible mechanism that would maintain a productive or healthy discussion online is a welcome development. No, I would advise personally the Meta, no, Meta kung at saka not only Meta but all the social media platforms to sanitize their platforms from distorted videos and fake news that is harmful not only to the individual being targeted but to the entirety of the entirety of yung entirety nung public discourse and the effect of the possible effect of and ramification of not containing their platforms and not sanitizing their platforms from being a portal of fake and distorted news, malinformation and disinformation. So I would agree kung dapat talaga in all possible options and mechanism na kailangan para just to maintain a truthful relaying of information to the public is a welcome development. And they should maintain that. I think so. I think they should. But who am I to decide on that when it comes to other countries, no? Ang sinasabi ko lang is I'm coming from a country where kailangan talaga natin ng ganitong klaseng regulation.
Sir, my last for my end. Yung sa ano lang, sir, Bangsamoro Transition Authority. I understand the MILF are not very happy with the replacement of the interim chief minister. Parang they express concern. They also express concerns na parang 35 lang out of the 41 na they recommended were reappointed. So, going forward, is this going to be a problem? Kasi parang meron silang many resolutions expressing support na ma-retain si Ahod Ibrahim, but he was abruptly replaced and walang yung explanation ng palace dun sa sudden replacement was not very categorical.
If kung my observation because I cannot see whether they're happy or not because I'm not in party to the discussion. Neither am I a member of the organization. But I think nagkaroon na sila ng inaugural session couple of days ago, and the session was attended by no less those who are high-ranking officials of the MILF, those members of the Central Committee. So that would be a display of support to the decision of the government of Malacanang in the issuance of new members to the Bangsamoro Parliament. So I would take that from this new development, from the recent development, which is the inaugural session of BTA, as a message by the MILF that that the organization in itself is willing to continuously cooperate with the government and supported the installation of a new chief minister.
Thank you, Ms. Linesca. For our last two questions, Ms. Kat, then three. Ms. Kat, Red, and Sai.
Hi, Kong.
Hello?
Balik lang po ako doon sa TRICO. Meron pong 4 na pinakontempt po. Kanina nabanggit na po si Sasot. Kasama po si Mark Lopez, si Ka Eric Celis, and si Lorraine Badoy. Hingin ko po sana yung thoughts ninyo na may bearing po ba yung contempt? Ano po, kumbaga parang magtatanda po ba sila doon sa contempt order na yon? And ano po kaya yung pwede natin gawin para hindi po mahari Roque 2.0 itong mga pinakontempt na to?
Yung contempt order naman kasi hindi yan abrupt eh. May series of invitation na binigay sa kanila. Kasi kailangan talaga din natin na magbigay ng due process sa kanila. Una, invitation. And if their absence, continuous absence, are not justified legally or medically or otherwise, wala silang justification for the continuing absence in the committee deliberation. So talagang mapupunta yan dun sa contempt order because yung sa rules kasi ng committee is yung absence, no? Yung deliberate absence without even providing the committee the justification is constitute the deliberate frustration for the committee to come up with the laws, no? With possible legislation. So hindi naman siya abrupt. They were given the chance to attend the committee hearings. At ginawa naman po ng mga kanilang mga kasama sa kanilang industriya. I mean kung industriya ba or sektor, no? Nakita naman natin yung mga prominenteng mga vloggers na kasama nila sa kanilang mga known to be their friends and allies in the vlogging community. Nakipag-communicate naman sila sa ating mga membro ng komite. So, pagkakataon nila ito para under oath, ma-express na nga rin nilang kanilang sarili at ma-explain nila kung bakit sila naglalabas ng ganung mga balita at probably mabigyan ang komite ng mga inputs na mas maganda pa, na mapapangganda yung magiging resulta nitong TRICOM na ito, which is magpasa ng isang batas na ayon sa pag-regulate sa mga fake news.
Pero sir, follow-up ko lang po kasi yung tatlo po sa kanila apparently nasa labas po ng bansa. So hindi po ba parang, baka po kasi maulit yung kay Harry Roque na hindi na talaga siya nakaharap, pumunta pa ng ibang bansa na nag-apply pa for asylum.
Hindi ko alam kung ano yung mga courses of action na gagawin nila, but as far as we are concerned, sila ay they're continuously skipping the committee hearings. They're frustrating the committee deliberation, and kung ano man yung magiging takbo ng kanilang magiging development, kung paano nila iwasan itong committee hearings, ay nasa sa kanila. I think if you ask me, to the detriment, because reputation-wise, that would speak how, yung sinasabi nilang, kasi these are people who would try to display themselves as heroes and honorables, but how can you even say that you are a hero or portray yourself as honorable if you don't even have the gall to face a legitimate inquiry and to exercise, your right to explain to the public under oath that these are the things that you believed in?
Sir, next po is sa TRICOM pa rin, meron pong nabanggit si Commodore Tariela na merong Filipino vloggers pa po na nagpapakalat ng disinformation. And yung disinformation nila is more on pagkiling po sa China. Ano po yung thoughts ninyo dito ng mga kapwa Pilipino pa po natin yung kumakampi?
Ito ay hindi lang fake news eh. Ito'y agarang pagtataksil sa ating bansa. It's so disturbing that there are Filipino bloggers who support the narrative, the false and negative narrative of China to claim ownership over a portion of our seas. No, it is not only, to me, it's not only a betrayal or being yung pagiging traidor sa kanyang bansa, it's dismantling our sovereignty one post at a time. So para sa akin, just to be candid about it, pagtataksil at hindi siya karapat-dapat na tawaging Pilipino. So it's really disturbing that some of our Filipino kababayan are even pursuing the narrative of China. Remember, kung ikaw ay isang Pilipino, naniniwala sa integridad at sobereniya ng Pilipinas, hindi lang kasi yung issue ng teritoryo ang pinag-uusapan dito. Yung mga harassment na ginagawa sa mga most vulnerable sector in our community, mga fishermen, tinan nyo yung mga nangyayari sa kanila doon. Maski yung man lang yung maging konsiderasyon mo, para magkaroon ng ganong paniniwala na dapat talaga hindi suportahan kung ano man yung naratibo ng China. You forget about national security, just being Filipino. No? Kawawa yung mga nangyayari sa ating mga fishermen dyan sa area na yan, no? Sa West Philippine Sea. Yun man lang, I think that would be enough for a Filipino to really say na hindi dapat maging supportive doon sa naratibo ng China sa pag-aangkin nila dito sa West Philippine Sea.
Sir, sorry, last na lang po. Baka lang po, meron po bang move ang House leadership to extend help? Kasi based po sa announcement ng DFA, may 2 na po tayong kababayang Pilipino na nasawi sa Myanmar po.
Well, unang-una po, tayo po yung nakikiramay sa pamilya po nung nasawi sa lindol na nangyari sa Myanmar. I think ang teacher ata to, no? Teacher ba siya? Guro, no? So tayo po ay nakikiramay, no? And I'm sure our DFA is doing its level best to provide assistance and support to to yung naging biktima, to the victims, and as well as to provide assistance for the family kung ano man yung kinakailangan ng ating mga kababayan, kung yung mga reparation processes ng kanilang kailangan na i-provide natin. I'm sure the DFA is also doing that, continuously engaging with Myanmar government para magbibigyan ng sapat na assistance yung ating mga kababayan, na lalong-lalo na yung mga nabiktima at nasawi ditong lindol na itong nakaraan linggo. So yun, I pray that they would be transported back home so that makakasama man lang sila ng kanilang mga mahal sa buhay. I'm sure the House of Representatives will come up with the possible, yung immediate na assistance na po pwedeng maibigay. Kasi nagbibigay naman din tayo ng tulong pinansyal, halimbawa, sa mga naging mga biktima ng mga kalamidad nitong nakaraang taon.
Hello, Miss Sai, Congress TV.
Good morning po. Since natanong na halos lahat, siguro sundan ko na lang po yung last question po about Commodore Tariela. Paano po ba natin dapat papanagutin yung mga pro-China vloggers na maging accountable po sila sa pagpapakalat ng mga fake news po about West Philippine Sea?
May mga may mga batas naman talaga tayo na in places. May mga against Anti-Sedition Act, there are a lot of legal ways in order to make our kababayan accountable for supporting a foreign claim which is diametrically opposed to our national interest. So sa pagkakaalam ko, based on the mga committee hearings ng aking na puntahan sa TRICOM, meron namang ongoing na build-up cases, no? Doon sa mga suspected na mga mouthpieces ng China dito sa ating bansa. So I'm sure yung legal way on how to make them accountable, meron naman tayong mga batas na nanandyan. May anti-sedition, and many others, no? Thank you.
For today's last question, Red Mendoza from Manila Times.
Hi po, Kong. Marami-rami po akong tatanong sa inyo.
Sige, tanungin mo na.
First off, nag-comment po si Professor Ana Malindog-Uy sa insinuation niya na siyang pro-China vlogger siya. Sinabi niya na ano daw, her consistent criticism of the government's confrontational and belligerent stance in the South China Sea should not be equated with disinformation. Sabi niya, would having such a perspective be tantamount to spreading fake news? And idikit ko na rin po ito, sinabi po ito ni Lorraine Badoy kagabi, na Congress daw is the most rotten organization daw, led by Speaker Martin Romualdez. And sinabi niya na dapat daw hindi raw iboto yung mga member ng TRICOM. Ito yung sabi niya sa statement niya na the Martin Romualdez-led Congress will go down in Philippine history as the most rotten, the most bizarre even. Congress that ever blighted this noble nation of ours. A suppurative ball that needs to be lanced for the putrid rot it holds. Kung, of course, itong mga statements na ito, of course, this is in relation doon sa mga sinabi nila sa TRICOM committee. What's your take on this po?
Maraming tanong yun, no? Unahin muna natin sinabi mong Filipino vlogger.
Columnist po namin siya, si Professor Malindog-Uy.
Well, there's no problem if you're sharing your personal opinion and observation on the ongoing development over the West Philippine Sea. But if your opinion is diametrically opposed to our territorial claim over this land, then that's become an issue of national security concern. Second,
yung kay Badoy po.
Badoy, I do not expect praises from them. So let's just leave it at that. Thank you.
Second question po. Kanina po nakabalita po na yung Chinese businessman po natagpo ang patay po sa May Rodriguez, Rizal. And of course, sinabi po ni Speaker Romualdez dati na fake news daw yung mga increasing crime rate sa bansa. Pero ito, may Chinese businessman po na namatay sa nakitang patay po, kidnap for ransom po. Ang sinasabi daw pong dahilan, pogo daw po. Hindi po ba to, you said, diametrically opposed din po sa sinabi ni Speaker Romualdez na bumababa ang crime rate while we are looking into etong nangyaring incident na ito?
Well, one incident cannot just overrun and overhaul the data gathered by the PNP. No? Kasi nagre-rely tayo based on the rate, criminal rate as submitted by the PNP. And all of the data, we presume, to be coming from the different PNP headquarters across all of the across the country. So I will stand by the rate, criminal rate that has gone down as submitted by the PNP as something that is official. One incident cannot overhaul entirely the data, the official data that was collected by our different PNP posts all over the country. And what it says is the criminal rate has gone down.
Pero this is a Chinese tycoon, businessman.
Hindi ko alam eh. Hindi ko bago ba yan? Hindi ko
Yes, po.
I'm sorry but I
Yes,
cannot
po.
specifically comment on that specific incident involving a specific Chinese tycoon because I haven't heard of that incident yet.
Kasi po, ano po siya? Kasi matagal na po siya napabalitang nakidnap. And ngayon po, nakot po siyang patay. So,
Let's
hindi po
call
ba-
on the PNP to do the investigation, a thorough investigation so that justice be served.
Pero hindi po ba ito nakakababa sa baka magkaroon ng takot yung mga investors sa atin because of this?
The inflation rate has gone down. It's 1.8 na ngayon. The employment rate has gone up. Yung 3.8 ata, and our credit rating in the international community is very stable, and we have gathered the confidence of our international partners as far as our credit rating is concerned. So I don't see any reason why one incident would try to just simply dispel all of these achievements and progress that we have attained insofar as the issue of international investment is concerned. Again, if that is the case, I believe the person deserves justice. So I personally would like to call on the PNP to do a thorough investigation on this.
Last na lang po. Of course, we all heard about the tariffs, the Trump tariffs, yung wild weekend where the US president had slapped tariffs from across different countries, including the Philippines. I think 17% yata tayo. And then kagabi lang po, he took it back except for China. Of course, maraming sinabi na ni Yusek Castro na hindi raw maapektuhan ang mga Pilipino sa tariffs na to. Pero of course, some of our products came from the United States and we are also exporting to the United States. So hindi po ba din nakaka-pressure ito, nakakatawa din po sa ating mga exporters to the United States? And of course, yung ibang mga products din galing China. So what is your take on this po sa mga tariffs na ito?
Oh, well, I think the executive branch has been doing a lot insofar as addressing this problem, should there be any problems that would come out, no? In terms of how the policy of the United States now is being exercised by the government. No? When it comes to the relationship with other nations, that is in a way cannot be decided upon by one single country like such as ours, because that would be internal to them. So I believe the relationship between the United States and the Philippines has been consistently going strong. With other bilateral talks or with other investment agreements with the United States, I believe our government is doing a lot and been in constant communication with their counterpart in the United States.
Super last. Do you think po ba kailan palakasin natin ang ating domestic production, domestic production, like yung mga negosyo natin, para at least mas stem natin yung issue sa tariffs ni US President Donald Trump?
Sa totoo lang, sabi ko nga, this concerns is an ongoing development. It's still an ongoing development, and I believe the Philippine government is in close contact and very much party is very much remains to be a very much a strong ally. Not only the ongoing bilateral talks or in militarily or even economically. So ako, sasabihin ko sa iyo, right now, this is a new development. It does not only affect the Philippines, but even yung mga kanilang relationship with their neighboring countries like in Canada and Mexico, etc. So kung akong tatanungin mo, it's still within the purview of the executive and so much as to how they would be able to secure our advantage. That would be entirely on how these two governments would come out with a solution in addressing this problem in so far as tariff. Kasi sabi ko nga, that's how the U.S. domestic policy is now being going under the Trump administration.
Thank you po.
Thank you.
Before we end today's press conference, we would like to thank once again our Assistant Majority Leader. Alam ko may meeting pa si Kong Sia at magkakampanya pa. And sir, any brief closing remarks?
Again, marami pong salamat. Sana po yung na medyo naliwanagan po tayo sa mga issues sa ngayon and maraming salamat din po sa inyong pagdalo sa briefing na ito at be safe, no? Always be safe. Mabuhay po ang bansang Pilipinas. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.
That ends our press conference day. Thank you very much.